Ah, the Midwest. Wide open skies, rolling fields, quiet towns stitched together by highways and time. A place where nothing ever happens, or so they say. But out here, beneath the rustling corn stalks, deep in the shadowed woods, there are stories. Stories whispered after midnight. Stories that grandparents refuse to tell. A night in Villisca, where the air inside that infamous little house grows thick with the weight of murder, and something much, much worse. And a lonely trail in the Loess Hills, where the trees breathe and something ancient stalks between them. These aren't ghost stories. They're warnings. Welcome to Weird Encounters, a place where the ordinary fades into shadow and the unexplainable comes alive. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and become part of our ever-growing community of the curious. Now prepare yourself, because what you are about to hear is not for the faint of heart. A quiet little town nestled in the heart of Iowa farm country. Peaceful, pastoral, but infamous. You've heard of the murders, but what if the horror that night in 1912 was only the beginning? What if that house, so unassuming, so ordinary, wasn't haunted by the past, but rather still occupied by something much older than we ever dared imagine? I don't really tell people about what happened, but maybe it's time. You seem like someone who might actually believe it, or at least listen without laughing. My name is Derek Moss. I'm 41 now. This happened when I was 24, so back in 2007. But it still feels fresh, like it just happened. I used to live in Des Moines but moved out to Omaha a few years ago. Too many bad memories in Iowa. One of them is Villisca. If you're from around here, you already know about the Axe House. Everyone does. The Moore family, 8 people hacked to death in their beds, even the kids, and they never caught the killer. Some folks say it was that traveling preacher, George Kelly. Others say it was someone who hopped a train and vanished, but people around here know better. That house, it ain't empty. My ex-girlfriend Tara was big into the paranormal. She dragged me all over the Midwest to see haunted sites, Waverly Hills, Stull Cemetery, that old asylum near Independence. Villisca was her white whale. She read every book on it, even had an old newspaper clipping from 1912 framed on her wall. She called the house the Dead Heart of Iowa. I didn't like that. We finally got a chance to do the overnight tour in June 2007. One of those Saturday night lock-ins. We drove in from Des Moines, got a motel room in Clarinda for afterward since it's close by. The drive down Highway 71 was quiet. We passed through Carbon and Corning and stopped at a diner in Red Oak for dinner. There was this waitress, middle-aged, frizzy blonde hair, who saw our gear and asked if we were headed to the murder house. We said yes, laughing, and she went stone cold. She told us not to go. "Things come out of that house with you," she said. We laughed it off. That was mistake number 1. We met the guide at the front porch. Nice guy, glasses. Name was Brian, I think. Gave us the tour. Talked about how the killer waited in the attic for hours. How he used the axe. How the mirrors were all covered. Even the food left out untouched on the table. We stayed with 4 others. A pair of sisters from Kansas City and 2 guys from Ames who said they were amateur ghost hunters. Everyone was laughing, joking, taking photos. But I didn't feel right. Something about the air in that house. It was heavy, like standing in a church right after a funeral, like the walls remembered things. Tara and I set up in the front parlor. Everyone picked their own corners. Around midnight, people started to split off and do their own ghost hunts. EVP recorders, spirit boxes, whatever. I wasn't into all that, I just wanted to survive the night. That's when the power went out, all at once, every light. Just total darkness, no warning. Brian said that happens sometimes. He claimed it was the old wiring, but that house was restored. You could feel it wasn't an accident. Tara pulled out a flashlight and everyone regrouped in the kitchen. One of the girls from KC said she felt something touch her hair in the upstairs hallway. Her voice was shaking. I believed her. We all sat in the kitchen for a while. That's when the house started breathing. I know how that sounds, but I swear, the air was moving in and out, slow and steady, like lungs. The walls creaked in rhythm. Even the floorboards under the table felt like they were rising and falling, ever so slightly. Nobody talked. We just sat there listening. Then came the knocking. It started upstairs, in the kids' room, soft, rhythmic, like a child knocking on a closet door. Tap, tap, tap. One of the guys from Ames went up with his camcorder, didn't come down for a long time. When he did, his face was white. He wouldn't talk, just left. Walked out the front door into the night. Never even came back for his gear. We found his camera the next morning, just static. 40 minutes of static and faint whispering. When we turned it up, I swear I heard crying. Around 3 a.m., people started trying to sleep. I couldn't. I sat on the parlor couch staring at the staircase. Tara fell asleep next to me, her head on my shoulder. That's when I saw the shadow on the stairs. It was tall, thin, too tall for that house. Head nearly touched the ceiling. Its arms were too long. I could see it because the moonlight from the upstairs window made this weird glow behind it. It didn't move like a person. It just tilted, like a marionette. I didn't breathe. I didn't blink. I didn't want it to know I saw it. It stood there for almost a minute. Then it crawled down the stairs. Crawled, like a spider. Its limbs bent backwards. No sound, no creak, just slow, jerky movement. It disappeared behind the staircase wall. I sat there frozen. I could hear it moving through the walls, like something sliding inside the house's bones. Tara woke up and whispered something. I don't know what. Her eyes were wide. I think she saw it too. Then we heard the sound from upstairs. Children crying, not like on a recording, real. Close, too close, like they were just above us. And then, the axe. It hit the floorboards, hard, again and again, heavy, brutal. We all ran out, all of us, screaming. I left the rest of my gear behind. I didn't care. We drove to Clarinda in total silence. When we got to the motel, Tara made me swear never to talk about it. We broke up 2 months later. She moved to Denver. She doesn't answer my texts anymore. I looked it up later. People have reported that same tall shadow for years. Locals call it the thin one, said it's not the killer. It's what made the killer. Something that feeds off blood and fear, something that lives in the house. Some say it showed up after a boy brought in an old journal from 1912 on a dare, that it followed him home and drove him mad. I don't know what's true. I just know I saw it. And once you see it, it doesn't forget you. I hope this gets to the right person. I saw a few of your Weird Encounters videos on YouTube, and I think maybe you're the type that might actually believe me. Or at least listen. I don't care about being famous or anything. I just want someone to hear what happened to me, even if it makes no sense, even if you think I'm crazy. My name is Clint Harrelson. I live in Red Oak, Iowa, just southeast of Villisca. I work construction, siding, sheetrock, roofing, all that stuff. Been doing it since I got out of high school. I don't read much, and I sure as hell ain't no writer, so I'm just going to tell this like it comes. Probably all over the place. Sorry if it's long. I need to get it out. This happened to me back in late October, last year, just before Halloween. I was planning on taking my niece to a pumpkin patch that weekend. She's real into fall stuff. But she asked me first if I'd take her to the Villisca Axe murder house. You know, that place where the whole family got murdered in 1912. She's into ghost stuff, podcasts, true crime, all that. I told her hell no. I don't mess with that house. Not even when I was a teenager and all my buddies snuck in there. That place just... it feels wrong. It's not the murder that gets me. it's what's still there. You drive past it and it's like your stomach drops, like the air goes heavy, like something knows you're there and don't want you around. Anyway, that weekend Frank, my hunting buddy, bails on our planned trip to go out near Nodaway, so I decide to go alone. I've hunted alone plenty before. I figured I'd just go sit in my tree stand for a few hours and maybe bag a buck. The area I was going to is about 8 to 10 miles south of Villisca, in a little wooded stretch off an old service road. Not a big place, and kind of forgotten. There's an old rusted shed with no roof at the edge of it. I parked there. The woods were dead quiet when I got there. No wind, no bird sounds. Just that kind of muffled silence that feels like cotton in your ears. I didn't think much of it at the time. Sometimes mornings are like that. I got in my stand and sat. Maybe an hour or two passed. The fog stuck around longer than usual. My fingers were cold. I didn't see a damn thing, not even a squirrel. That's when I started to feel watched, like something behind me or above me, just staring. My skin started to crawl like there were bugs under it. You ever feel a place shift? Like, 1 second it's just a quiet morning in the woods, and then it's like the world's holding its breath? I can't explain it, but I felt like something had entered the space. Something that wasn't supposed to be there. I climbed down early, maybe around 11 a.m., started walking the loop I usually do to stir up movement. That's when I started hearing the footsteps, behind me. Really softly I heard crunching leaves, twigs snapping. I stopped, and the sound stopped. I moved, and it started again. I turned around real quick a couple times, but never saw anything. Nothing obvious anyway. I started talking out loud like an idiot. Hello? Is someone there? I'm a hunter. Private land here. But nothing responded back. Then I saw it. Between two trees, maybe 30 yards back, something was standing there. It was pale, like ash or old bones. It looked like an old woman, like an evil witch. It was horrifying. Her eyes were white and rolled back in her head, and her face was wrinkled and torn. There was something standing next to her. No clothes. Just skin. Tall. Too tall. The arms were long, and they hung lower than they should. It was like a stretched-out person, but it wasn't right. Like God made it out of leftover parts and didn't care how they fit. And it was watching me. It didn't move, didn't blink, just stood there. I blinked, just once, and it was gone. I wanted to run, but I didn't. I don't know why. Pride, maybe. Stupidity. I kept walking, faster now. I kept feeling like I was being herded, like this tall creature thing was guiding me somewhere. That's when I heard the whispering right behind my ear. Clint! I jumped and spun around. There was nothing. My legs felt like jelly, and my heart was pounding in my ears. I started heading straight for the truck, shortcut through the thickets. I got scratched up, fell once, tore my jacket. But I didn't care. I just wanted out. The whispering got louder, and now it was in front of me. All around me, a dozen voices. I saw something move through the trees. I turned my head, and I swear it was running on all fours. Like a man, but fast, too fast, and twisted. It wasn't meant to run like that. When I finally saw the car, I sprinted. I haven't run that hard since high school track. I unlocked it, slammed the door, and locked it again. I sat there for a minute, shaking. I looked in the rearview mirror, and there it was. In the trees, just watching. No expression, no blinking, just watching me. I peeled out of there so fast, I almost hit the shed. I didn't stop driving until I was back on Highway 34 near Stanton. I pulled into a Casey's, threw up in the parking lot, and sat there for an hour. That night is when it really got bad. I tried to sleep, but kept waking up. Every time I'd drift off, I'd jolt awake with this horrible image of the Villisca House in my head. Not the outside, the inside. I was standing in the upstairs bedroom. The one where the kids were murdered. The moonlight was shining through the window. The floor creaked. I turned, and that thing was there, standing in the corner by the bed. And in its hand was an axe. It didn't swing it. It didn't move. It just watched me, and it smiled, or tried to. It didn't have a mouth, just folds in the skin where a mouth should have been. I screamed and woke up, drenched in sweat. The worst part was, my bedroom window was open. I never opened it. And there were smudges on the glass, long streaks, like someone ran their fingers down it, from outside. The next few nights, the tapping started. Just after midnight, always 3 taps. Tap, tap, tap. Sometimes it came from the window. Sometimes the front door. Once, from inside the house. I'd get up and check, and there was nothing. But I started seeing shadows in the hallway. Pale figures, just out of sight. When I'd look straight at them, they'd vanish. I didn't sleep for 3 days. I went to a pastor. He told me I had to pray and face what I'd seen. I went to a doctor. He gave me pills, but none of it helped. I finally broke down and went to talk to an old man who used to work for the county. He said people used to go missing in those woods. Way back, before the Villisca murders. Native folks said there was something wrong with the land, something that drank fear like water. He said the axe murders were just a symptom, not the cause. That the killer didn't bring the evil. He was already infected by it. He said what I saw might be the root of it. Something old. Something that feeds. Some places don't just feel forgotten, they want to be forgotten. Hidden somewhere among the old growth trees and ghost towns of rural Iowa is a quiet trail, long since erased from maps. But for one man out for a solo hike in the Loess Hills, what started as a peaceful weekend escape would unravel into a nightmarish encounter with something ancient and hungry. Hey, I found your channel and wasn't sure if I should even write. I never planned to tell anybody outside my family, and they all think I just had a panic attack or heat stroke or something. But it wasn't that. I've had both. This was different. Something followed me up in the Loess Hills near the old Preparation Canyon area, and it was real. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't no animal. My name's Josh. I live in Council Bluffs, born and raised. I do HVAC for work, and on weekends I like to get out into the woods and just disappear for a while, you know? I don't do the whole Instagram, TikTok thing. I just like to hike, camp a little, shut the world off. That's how it started. I went up solo for the weekend, mid-September. Just me, my pack, and my beat-up Tacoma. There's this stretch of land north of Pisgah, out past the old dirt roads where your cell signal dies and even GPS starts acting weird. That's where I went. I used to go to Preparation Canyon State Park with my uncle when I was a kid. He told me stories about the old Mormon colony that used to live up there, how they just up and left one night, left their farms and cabins behind like they were running from something. Back then I thought it was just ghost stories, but now I think maybe they knew something we didn't. I parked at the trailhead by the ranger sign-in box. Only one other name in the log, a couple from Omaha signed in 3 days before. Never saw 'em out there, and come to think of it, I never saw their names signed out either. Anyway, I hiked in with my gear. Real quiet afternoon. Trees whispering, bugs chirping, the kind of peaceful you only get when you're so far off grid that the air feels different. I set up camp about 3 miles in near an old hunting blind someone built out of plywood years ago. Real solid work. Almost looked like a little shack. Thought about sleeping in it, but I pitched my tent instead just a few yards away. Around dusk, I started feeling weird. Not sick, just off. Like my body knew something my brain didn't. I went to grab water down by the creek and felt like someone was standing right behind me. I spun around, and nothing was there, just trees. But the woods were too quiet. No frogs, no birds, not even wind anymore. It was like the world hit pause. That's when I started noticing the smell. It was rot. Wet dog and old blood. Not too strong, but there. Just enough to make your stomach tighten. I figured it was maybe a dead deer. That happens all the time. But the weird part? It would come and go. One minute I'd smell it, next minute it was gone like it never existed. I didn't sleep well that night. I heard something crunching, leaves just past my tent. I thought it might be raccoons or a coyote, but it wasn't scared off when I yelled out. It just kept circling the tent, slow and steady. When I finally unzipped the flap and shined my light out, there was nothing, not a thing. But I swear I heard breathing, deep, raspy, not human. Next morning I packed up early. I should have left right then and there, but I didn't. I was stubborn. Figured I'd just move deeper into the hills and shake the creeps. That's when I found the footprints. They were massive, bigger than my boot, and I wear size 12. But it wasn't the size, it was the shape. Not hooves, not paws. It looked humanoid. Bare feet. But the toes were wrong. Too long, like spider legs curling into the dirt. I followed them about 20 yards before they just vanished, not like they turned, like they ended. No more prints, no drag marks. They just stopped. I kept walking for maybe another mile before I noticed the trees changing. Not the species, just the feeling. It got darker, thicker, and the smell came back, this time stronger, almost like it was inside my nose instead of in the air. That's when I heard the whistling. I heard my name, not from one voice, from several, men, women, children, all saying Josh, like a warning or a command. I tripped, went down hard, split my lip open on a rock. That's when I saw it, really saw it. It was on all fours, just at the edge of the tree line, watching. Eyes like glass. No color, no shine, just voids. The limbs were too long, mouth too wide, skin like old wax and patches of hair like it was pretending to be a person once, but forgot how. Then it smiled, or tried to. Its lips peeled back to show nothing, just gums, no teeth, and it began crawling toward me. I don't remember getting up. I just remember running. When I finally hit the trailhead again, the sun was almost gone, and the air? Silent. No bugs. No wind. Just this pressure in my ears like a plane taking off. I drove home, shaking, bleeding, and I didn't stop once. I had the truck detailed the next morning because it smelled like that thing. It took 4 shampoos to get that smell out. I haven't been back since. I won't go north of Magnolia anymore. I won't even drive Route 183 at night. People talk about haunted houses and ghosts, but this wasn't that. This was something alive, something predatory, and it picked me. I told my uncle, the one who used to hike up there, and he got quiet. He said once, back in the 70s, a boy went missing in those woods. Nobody ever really talked about it much, whatever it was. Whatever I encountered, well, it's still out there. A solo hike in the hills, a stretch of trail where no signal can reach you, and something not quite human, lurking in the shadows of trees that never forget. He went looking for peace, but what he found still watches. And so, another strange encounter fades away. A trick of the mind, or something far more unsettling. That's for you to decide. Thank you so much for watching my stories. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support is what keeps this channel going.